Hi, as you know today a lot of good models are popping up left and right. We have Claude Opus 4.1, we have GPT-5 thinking model, and that's all great. But the problem is that for folks like us who kind of like just want to spend on one model that can kind of best fit all our use cases in our day-to-day life. Now, then we'll start going to the rabbit hole of, oh, okay, if we just want to buy a single provider, which would it be? Would it be Claude? Would it be ChatGPT? Would it be Grok? Which one is the best, right? And you start going down the rabbit hole, doing all the research and stuff. Now today I want to share with you a way where you can essentially avoid all of that and just get access to all these different models, use them all at a very cheap price. And so as you can see, in order to use Grok, right, and let's say you're a light user, you probably use it like maybe less than 100 times a month. It's obviously not worth paying for $30 just to get to use that amount of, like just use 100 times, not worth it. And then likewise with Claude, you have to pay $17 to get access to Claude Opus 4.1. And then same thing with ChatGPT, right? If you want to use the thinking model, you have to pay $20 a month. Now this is very expensive. Imagine if you want to get access to all three models, that would be about $67, right? And depending on where you're from, let's say you're like me and you're based in Southeast Asia, then that can get very expensive very quickly, right? And the thing is, like, there's a way around it. So if you check out Open Router, this is essentially a platform which allows you to use and get access to multiple different frontier models, the smartest frontier models. And so if I just go to here, add models, you'll see that there's a bunch of LLMs here, right? We have Mistral, we have DeepSeek, we have ChatGPT, we have all kinds, right? And even like the latest premium frontier models like Claude Opus 4.1, we have GPT-5 as well, and then we even have Grok 4, right? And the thing with Grok is, if you check out this, this is their app, this is their website, and if you want to use Grok as a free user, you actually don't have access to Grok 4. You will need to unlock, which will then say you have to pay $30. So it actually costs $30 to use Super Grok, which is Grok 4, right? And so on Open Router, you can actually use them. You can pay per use, so it becomes very cheap. And just to give you an idea of what this means, so if you check out my usage, sorry, I'll just go here. Yeah, as you can see, I've been using Grok 4, I've been using ChatGPT 5, I've been using Claude Opus 4.1, and as you can see, they don't even cost that much. It's like 0.02, 0.02. And of course, like if you're a heavy user, this can add up. But what I'm saying is, for users who you're kind of like everyday user, you kind of use it a few times, but you're not like, it's not anything crazy. I think this is a very good way to get access to all these models, right, which you wouldn't have otherwise been able to access. Now there's a few things that I want to cover on how you can actually use these models and maximize the utility of these models. So if you go into the option, now you see like there's a lot of options that you can tweak around here, and can appear overwhelming at first, but actually there's only three things that you need to focus on. So the first is the max reasoning tokens here, and this is essentially saying, for example, in the case of GPT-5, if you realize that in Open Router there is actually no such thing as ChatGPT-5 thinking, because what happens is it all goes under GPT-5, and essentially the way that it starts to think is you essentially increasing the max reasoning tokens here. And reasoning just means thinking, right? Because the way that models think is that they kind of like produce more tokens. Like let's say you pose them a question, and then they'll take that question, and then they will kind of like generate more text for themselves, and then more text and more text, and so those are kind of like considered as reasoning tokens for them to eventually build to a high quality answer. So this is one of the things that you need to focus on. Like if you want to make sure that your model is like kind of like be able to perform and give you high quality answer, and you know that you have a hard question for it, then just be sure to increase the max reasoning tokens here. The exact amount doesn't really matter, right? I think in general I would just set it to like 10,000 or something, but it's really up to you. You can put it more. Just be aware that these will all be included in your costing as well, which is the credits, right? Which is this. So the more reasoning tokens that you give it, then the more likely that the cost will eventually become higher. And then there's the other part, which is the chat memory. And so here, this is it's really for long-term, multi-turn chats, right? Let's say if you're conversing with the AI and the chat window gets really long, then just make sure that you kind of like increase the chat memory so that the AI doesn't lose context of what you previously shared with it. And I guess this is where Open Router really shines, right? Because it gives you all these control which you wouldn't have otherwise have if you were using something like Claude itself, like the Claude chat itself, or ChatGPT, right? Like for example, if you're on Claude chat here, you wouldn't be able to kind of like set these parameters. And so this is where Open Router really shines. And then the last thing is the system prompt. So for the system prompt, usually I would recommend you to put something in here, unless it is a very simple question, then don't need to bother with it. But it's essentially very easy to write the system prompt, essentially because you already have access to the model here. So what you can say is, for the first round, you can just say like, you are a world-class prompt engineer that specializes in writing prompt for specific use case, which you can put in your use case of what you want it to write prompt for, and then you can just go out and then just give it a basic instruction, right, or what you want the AI to help you with, and then it would then churn out a prompt for you, which you can then just like copy that and then put it inside the system prompt, just copy paste in the system prompt. And one thing that you should note here as well is that you realize there are 3 models, but I've only inserted the system prompt for 1. But what you can actually do is just click apply to all, and this system prompt will then automatically apply to all the other models in this window as well. So now I haven't clicked apply to all, right? But let's just check Grok 4. So it is still the old default system prompt. Same goes to Claude Opus as well. But let's say if I were to say apply to all now, what you'll see is now in Grok 4, you would also have the same system prompt that we had in GPT-5. Same goes to Claude Opus as well. So this is how you essentially use the models in Open Router. And of course, there's also a lot of like models if you just want to play around. For example, you have Gemini 2.5 Pro here, right? And even like the cheaper models as well, if you want to just test like which models here are able to perform as well as some of these frontier models at a way cheaper price, right? And I just want to show you some ways that I've been really utilizing Open Router is, oftentimes I would just try, if let's say I have a very hard problem and I'm not sure like which model would kind of give me the right answer. What I would do is I'll just open some of the models that I kind of want to test, and then I'll just literally chat with it, right? Say, hi, how are you, for example. I mean, this is overkill for these models, but just for demonstration's sake, right? You say, hi, how are you? What you get is, as you can see, you get responses from all these models all at the same time. And so what you can then do is to kind of like compare them, and then if let's say right now you were to pick GPT-5 over Gemini's answer, right? Or maybe let's pick Gemini 2.5 because it's a lot more concise. Okay, so what you can do now is you can deactivate all the other 3 models, and then you can just go ahead and continue speaking with Gemini 2.5 Pro. And then as the conversation gets long, you can then go in here and then you can increase the chat memory. And then let's say you have a very hard question. Now I have a hard question for you, and then you insert hard question, and you know that, okay, you know what, maybe you kind of want the model to start thinking a little bit more, right? So then you can increase the max reasoning tokens here as well. So you can see how this can get very flexible, and it'll be pretty useful and gives you access to these really good models that you would otherwise have to pay a monthly subscription for. Alright, so another thing that I wanted to bring to your attention is, if you looked at Open Router, what you realize is a lot of these are chat agents. I mean, a lot of these are not chat agents, they are text agents, meaning they're specialized in text and sometimes also coding, but you don't have a lot of them that are focused on multimodality. So what I mean by this is like image, videos, audio, etc. And for those, you can check out Hyperbolic. And so this is another platform which is similar to OpenRouter, but they kind of focus more on multimodal LLMs. And so for example, here you'll see image models, you have video models, and then you also have like audio models as well. And so then what you can do is the same thing that like OpenRouter, you can also have a chat with these models. For example, Flux.1 Dev, which I think is quite popular at the moment. So you just go in, then you can start kind of like speaking to Flux.1, right? But in my case right now, I don't think I have signed in first of all, and I don't have credits in my account as well. But if you're interested in multimodal LLMs, then definitely make sure you check out Hyperbolic. I think it'll be pretty useful, especially if you are, you want to test out which image models are the best, which video models can perform well based on your use case. I think this is a really good place for you to just like try it out without paying for subscription fees. For example, usually if you want to get access to these models, you have to pay for something like a app like Design, where you kind of have to pay a monthly subscription of like $9, right? So yeah, I think you should make sure to utilize these platforms as they can be really helpful. Alright, now let's say you're bought in and you want to use OpenRouter, and by the way, I'm not affiliated with them or anything. I just think that this is a really good platform to give you access to all these different models. But let's say if you wanna start using OpenRouter today, what you can do is you can just sign in here, just openrouter.ai, and then sign in. And then once you've signed in, just go ahead and buy some credits, right? Like let's say you can set your amount here. Let's say you want to just use $5 as a start, for example, just to test out the platform. So you can just put $5, and then you can opt for whether you want to use crypto or not, right? And then you can just purchase it. And then once you've done that, just go ahead to chat here, and then you'll be into this window here where you can start selecting your models and start asking questions, comparing answers between different models. So yeah, I think that's the end of this video. Let me know if there's any other questions you have with OpenRouter. Happy to answer them in the comment section. And also let me know if there's any other kinds of video that you would like to see, whether it's related to end-to-end workflows, or even like just general AI stuff like this, for example. Let me know. I'm also still exploring what are the topics that you guys are interested in. So yeah, thanks for watching, and have a good one, guys. Peace.